Okay, so picture this. You send a text, right? You think it's totally private between you and whoever you're sending it to.
Right.
But then, someone else is reading along with you.
Yeah.
Not a great feeling, right?
Definitely not.
So today we're doing a deep dive on the security, or maybe the lack of security, of texting.
Okay.
Specifically, we're going to be looking at this cyber attack called Salt Typhoon that targeted both iPhone and Android users. And we've got some warnings from the FBI and CISA to dig into, plus a really interesting New York Post article. So basically, our mission is to figure out just how vulnerable texting actually is. And most importantly, what can we all do to protect our communications?
Sounds good. I think one of the most interesting things about Salt Typhoon is the sheer scale of it.
Yeah.
And the type of data that was targeted. This wasn't just some random small-time hack. We're talking about state-backed hackers from China who actually got into some big U.S. telecom companies. So think about it. They could have gotten their hands on call records, text messages, even location data from a ton of people.
Wow, that's a lot more than just someone snooping on a few texts.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And this whole thing really brings to light a vulnerability that most people don't even realize is there.
Okay.
Which is that standard SMS and RCS messaging between iPhones and Androids. It's just not end-to-end encrypted.
You know, you mentioned things like financial data being at risk.
Right.
But I mean, don't those apps have their own security measures in place?
They do. But
Is it really that risky to be texting that stuff?
Oh, absolutely. It's risky. Think of it like this. Standard texting, it's basically like sending a postcard. Anyone who gets their hands on it along the way could potentially read what you wrote.
Okay.
With end-to-end encryption, it's more like you're sending your message in one of those like lock boxes, you know?
Right.
Only you and the person you sent it to have the key to open it. Not even the messaging service can get in and see what's inside.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So for those of us who, rely on texting all the time, what's the FBI recommending?
Their advice is pretty clear-cut. They're saying switch to messaging apps that use end-to-end encryption.
Okay.
Signal and WhatsApp are two great options.
Yeah.
They've become kind of the gold standard when it comes to secure messaging.
I've been using WhatsApp for ages. It's super easy to use. And yeah, it's definitely nice knowing that there's that extra level of protection.
Yeah.
But say someone isn't quite ready to give up their usual texting app, what else can they do to stay safe?
Well, the FBI emphasizes a few really important steps. The first is to keep your devices updated.
Okay.
Those updates often include security patches that fix vulnerabilities,
Nice.
Think of it like locking your doors and windows in your house. The second thing is to practice what they call responsibly managed encryption.
Responsibly managed encryption.
I know it sounds kind of complicated,
Yeah.
but it's really not. It's basically like you're building this digital fortress around all your data.
Okay.
Strong, unique passwords are your fortress walls. And using multi-factor authentication is like having a guard posted at the gate.
Yeah, multi-factor authentication can be a little annoying sometimes.
I know what you mean.
But I'm so used to it now for things like email and social media.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth that extra step for the peace of mind.
For sure.
Especially with all the personal info we've got stored on those platforms.
Exactly. And, when you think about the bigger picture, unsecured communications can really lead to a lot of problems. Privacy violations, identity theft, even the potential for manipulation.
Yeah, it's scary to think how easily a simple text could turn into a huge problem.
Right.
Like, say someone's in the middle of negotiating a business deal, and they're doing it through text messages. If those messages get intercepted, it could ruin the entire deal, or even worse.
Absolutely. Or imagine you're in a disagreement with someone, a personal conflict.
Right.
And someone else has access to all those private messages.
Yeah.
It could just make things so much worse.
So the big takeaway here is that texting might not be as secure as we think it is. And to really protect ourselves, we should switch to encrypted apps, keep our devices updated, and use those strong security measures.
You got it. That's the key takeaway. And, this whole conversation brings up a really important question.
What's that?
In a world that's becoming more and more digital, how do we find that right balance between the convenience that technology gives us and the need for privacy and security? It's something we all have to think about as we navigate this tech landscape that's constantly changing.
Totally agree on that.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
Catch you all next time.
See ya.